Was there any better way to kick the summer movie season back in gear than a new Fast and Furious movie? Well, according to the box office, no, there isn't. F9 took us to the stars, the past, and all the way back to where we started. So let's look at how some of F9's Easter eggs changed the Fast universe forever. F9 really was the Dominic Toretto movie. The entire plot of the film was centered around the demons from Dom's past coming back to haunt him. As one could guess, his demons revolved around his mythologized father, who he has been talking about for well over a decade. He told us about his father's wreck and his subsequent beating of the man he blamed for it all the way back in The Fast and the Furious. They made sure the sequence went down exactly how Dom described it, down to the screaming he thought was coming from his father, but was really coming from him. This time, we got the real story involving Jakob Toretto and their father throwing the race on purpose. Perhaps the biggest reveal, though? The reveal of Dom's father's name, Jack Toretto. I mean, I was kind of hoping that he'd have a more original name than Jack, but hey, at least they grabbed J.D. Pardo from Mayans MC. Probably the best Easter egg in F9 is the one that pays respect to the original film. While the current Fast movies thrill us with plots about world-ending bad guys that require cars to be driven into space, back in the day the franchise was all about street racing culture. That's why it was so cool to see younger versions of the original characters in their natural habitat. Younger versions of Vince, Mia, Jesse, and Letty all joined young Jakob and Dom for Jakob's final race through LA. Even the race itself was a reference to the first film. If you remember, Dom beat Brian in their first street race because Brian hit the NOS too early, allowing Dom to speed past him for the win. Apparently, this was the same way Dom smoked his brother years earlier. Could we maybe see a prequel film? I don't know about you, but I think it would be cool to see a Fast film that slows things down and focuses on street racing again.
Just like old times.
Justin Lin has a very special love for the Fast and Furious franchise. His first film in the series, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, was largely responsible for Dom and company coming back to the franchise for more pulse-pounding action. Lin paid special homage to his first Fast film by including Sean Boswell, Twinkie, and Earl Hugh in the latest film to help Tej and Roman make their trip into space. What's even more impressive is that Lin was able to resurrect Han. This was an even bigger reference to Lin's work than the others were. While Lin's film Better Luck Tomorrow wasn't originally intended to be a Fast movie, it has been retconned that the film offers the secret origin to Han. If that wasn't enough for Lin, he then had to top it off by Han reuniting with Sean, Twinkie, and Earl at the Toretto family barbecue. No big deal, this was just a moment we've been waiting for since 2006. While the Toretto family is the main fam in the series, they aren't the only household of precision-driving criminals in the world. Ever since Fast and Furious 6 introduced us to Owen Shaw, every subsequent film has featured appearances from Deckard Shaw, Magdalene Shaw, or Hattie Shaw. F9 managed to pick up several plot points that were left dangling from Hobbs and Shaw. The most notable one was that Magdalene was able to break out of prison like it was hinted at in the Fast and Furious spinoff. Not only that, but we were treated to a post-credit scene where Deckard was seen torturing a bad guy who sounded a lot like he could have been an Etion agent to me. This normal evening in for Dex was ruined by an impromptu visit from Han, who was clearly there to get his justice. I don't know if that fight is going to be an F10 or Hobbs and Shaw 2, I just know I want to see it. Unfortunately, this is the first entry since Fast 5 where we didn't get a check-in from anyone in the Hobbs family. You know, that feud was still simmering a little bit when Luke didn't even get a mention in the movie. Two of my all-time favorite characters in the Fast extended cast are Tico Leo and Rico Santos, who appeared in the short film Los Bandoleros. The comedic duo have been regular friends of the Toretto crew, but for the longest time, we didn't know the full story of how they became associated with Dom in the first place. Well, according to F9, they were prisoners in the same prison as Dom. We see two young actors playing Santos and Leo alongside the new, younger Dom. They helped Dom solve the mystery of what happened to his father while also lamenting how unfair it was that they were busted in the first place. The Fast films have a huge revolving door of minor characters that have popped up time and time again. One that managed to return this time was none other than poor Agent Michael Stasiak. The agent was a co-worker of Brian's in Fast and Furious. Things came to blows between the two over Mia Toretto, resulting in Stasiak getting his nose broken. Then in Fast and Furious 6, while Brian was trying to investigate Letty's reappearance, he got himself put into prison. He took things further by attacking Stasiak again, breaking his nose for a second time. These two events were referenced in F9 in a not-so-subtle way. We see Stasiak working alongside Dom this time with one of the most heavily broken noses I've ever seen in a film. Seriously, you'd think that Brian could at least help him get some plastic surgery. I think if he breaks that nose one more time, he'll have a right angle in it. Letty and Dom have one of the longest running romances in the action movie genre. While they have been going strong since the first film, there are still huge chunks of their romance we haven't seen. One of the few details we've gotten came when Dom told the night swimming story. He told an amnesiac Letty that when the two went on a swim together, she cut herself on a reef. Dom then cut himself by swimming after her. F9 seems to reference this when Dom gets into trouble midway through the film. As he tries to take on a whole army of Jakob's men, he gets thrown into a deep reservoir of water, seemingly to his end. That's when Letty dives in after him, flipping the script on their night swimming story. F9 did not take long telling you that it was going to be a throwback to Dom's past. When the Universal logo came up before the film, it wasn't the modern one that we're used to. No, it was actually the one that they used for the early 90s, about the same time as Jack's race. So if you were feeling nostalgic before the film even began and you couldn't tell why, well, that's why. One of the biggest surprises in F9 came when Dominic Toretto was saved by none other than Cardi B herself.
Impressive, I know.
No, that's not impressive.
Now, it might seem like Cardi B's Lisa was a pretty random inclusion, but it actually fits into the Fast franchise for two separate reasons. For one, the franchise has a long history of taking well-known musical artists and giving them a chance to show their acting chops. Ludacris, Bow Wow, and Ja Rule are just a few of the talented artists who have had decent roles in the series. Lisa is also a reference to an older character in the series. If you didn't catch it, she's the sister of Cara Murtha from Dom's Dominican Republic days. It's already been confirmed that Cardi will be back for the next entry, for some reason. Will we get to see Lisa and Cara on screen together next time? I kinda hope so. There's nothing more wholesome in a Fast and Furious movie than a barbecue at the Toretto House. Unfortunately, ever since Deckard Shaw blew the house up in Fast and Furious 7, we haven't been back to ol' 1327. Well, F9 decided to rectify that by bringing us a classic barbecue scene down to the right brand of beer. We can also see that Dom has been working hard to see that his childhood home gets rebuilt. It looks like he has a long way to go, but I bet by Fast 10, we'll see the house back to normal. If that wasn't enough to get you choked up, we also saw a familiar character who has been out of the franchise since Furious 7. That would of course be Brian, who rolled up in a car that instantly reminded everyone of his car from the first film. While it's sad that we'll never see the late Paul Walker roll with his friends again, it's some small comfort that at least Brian can still drink a cold one with the rest of the Toretto gang. Here's to hoping Dwayne Johnson will come back for F10. We've got one more ride, it would be a shame not to have the whole crew, don't you think? Squash that beef already, guys!